next speaker will be Reggie Walker. The title of his speech is Resilient Like a Cat. The time of this speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and it is speech number 5 in the Communication and Leadership Manual. And we will have Emmy evaluate. So everybody please welcome Reggie up to the shake his hand. Thank you.
Well, I think the reason Ryan took my name badge is because he's my mentor. So he was just going to show me how it's done. So he wanted to be Reggie today. So Ryan, come on up. Take it over. So I had to have a good speech. Just any socket around there. Resilient like a cat. In our tough times these days, how important is it to be resilient? Extremely, right? We've got to be resilient to deal with the challenges we have before us. Well, I've got 3 quick stories to tell you, and they're all about cats. How many cat lovers do we have here? 1. How many cat haters do we have here? Come on, be honest. It's either love or hate. There's no with cats, right? Well, for you cat lovers, I'm sorry, these stories aren't the best. The first one is about a friend of mine named Larry, who lived with this couple when he was young, before he was married. The couple didn't have any kids, but they had a cat. And one morning he was getting ready to go to work. He was running late, and the couple had already gone to work. Both of them were. And so he hurried out the door. It was cold that morning. He got in his car, turned the key, vroom, blah, 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 blah. He goes, oh no, not today. Because he knew what it was. He turns off the engine, opens the hood, and sure enough, there's Max, the cat. All bloody and mangled. He goes, oh, what am I going to do? I'm in my nice clothes. I'm running late. I've got to do something. And you can tell Max was in pretty bad shape. So he takes Max into the house, puts him in a paper bag, and goes and gets a hammer. And he starts pounding on the paper bag until Max doesn't move anymore or make a sound. And then he goes, we're in an apartment complex. What do I do with Max now? So he takes him out the back door and puts him in the garbage can and hurries to work. And wonders how he's going to tell his friends what he did to their cat. My next story is about a cat named Harry, who was owned by a boy named Carrie. And we were in high school. It's true. We were in high school. We were on our lunch break. We were all outside. And in Mississippi, they have water towers. This is a small water tower, but it was about 60 feet high. And Carrie gets something out of his car. He's got this big cloth sack, and he starts climbing this water tower right there in the middle of the day. And we're going, what is he doing? Someone says, he's the star football player. He's just showing off. But he's climbing. He climbs all the way up to the top, the little walkway around the water tank. And out of his bag, he pulls his cat. And the cat's just sitting there nicely. And we realize from down below, he's got something tied to the cat. And it looks like this little mini parachute. And sure enough, just as we go, no, he's not gonna, he tosses Harry over the railing. And the amazing thing is that it worked. The little parachute puffs up, and Harry's just floating down, and you can tell he's just looking around like, okay, where am I? Nice view out here. But then Harry does something he shouldn't have done. He looked down. And as soon as he looked down, you can see his little body just go like this, and he flinches, and he goes, I don't know what I'm hanging from, but I'm going that way, not that way, and he starts climbing like this. And all of us down on the ground are going, no, don't do that. And sure enough, as he claws upward, he rips the little parachute, takes the air out of it, and old Harry plummets like a rock the rest of the way down. Hits the ground with a thud, and we all flinch. And just then the bell rings, and we have to go back in school, but Harry doesn't move. So my next story is when I was a little boy, we had this cat. And he was a big cat. Everybody talked about how big of a cat he was. And he was this dark charcoal gray, almost black. So we called him Charcoal Charlie. So Charcoal Charlie was a very unusual cat. He would be outside, and we'd be out playing, and all of a sudden this big dog would run up. Any sized dog would run up. You know how dogs are, they chase cats. Dog would run up and go, "Roar!" Charlie would just stand there, kind of did this little hiss growl. And the dog would go on, you know, like, "What's up with this?" So he goes, "I'm going to show him." He gets right up in Charlie's face and just, "Roar!" And what does Charlie do? He pulls back his big old black claw and goes like this and just takes a swipe at the dog's nose. And of course that dog, yeah, just squeals, yelps, and just runs off. But the amazing thing about Charlie is he would chase the dog. The neighbors thought it was the craziest thing in the world. He'd turn and chase that big dog down the street. So what can we learn about these three stories about resiliency? Well, when my friend Larry came home that day, he got home early. He says, he was good at cooking, so he was going to make his friends a dinner, a nice dinner, and he was going to kind of break it to them easy about how he killed their cat. So he was in the kitchen chopping food, and he hears this sound. And he goes, "No, it can't be." So he goes over to the kitchen door, opens the door, and there's Max. Just standing there, all mangled, one eye swollen shut, and just bloody as all get out. But he's alive. He climbed out of the trash can, and he's been standing there waiting for somebody to answer the door all day. And from what Larry says, Max lived for years after that just fine. With the second story, my friend Kerry, he took his cat home, laid it on the seat of the car, drove home with it, and he's wondering, what am I going to do? Where am I going to bury it? And it was actually his mom's cat. So he's, how am I going to tell Mom? Just as he's pulling in the driveway, Harry flinches, sits up, and looks around like, "What happened? Where am I?" And Harry was fine from then on. Lived for years to be a grandpa. And of course, Charcoal Charlie was our favorite cat for a long time because of his reputation. So, what do we learn? Number one from Max is that it doesn't matter if you've been knocked down, beat up, you can always come back as long as you're still breathing, right? From Harry, we learned that when you're in a tough situation, the last thing you want to do is panic, right? I really believe that if Harry had just kind of held still, he would have floated all the way down. But he panicked, right? And when he panicked and knocked the wind out of that parachute, he was history for a while. And then, of course, with Charlie, we learned that you don't let people put labels on you. Wait a minute, you're a cat, you can't act that way. You can act any way you want, right? So 3 great lessons about resiliency. I've got one more to tell you. This guy's driving down the street, and you know how cats are, they'll dart out in front of you, and this cat darts out, and he hits his brakes, but he's not fast enough, and he hears this plump plump. And sure enough, he gets out and he's run over the cat. Oh, great. So he sees this little boy over on the side of the road. And he walks up to the little boy and says, "Do you know whose cat that is?" The little kid says, "I think it's that lady's, and she's mean." He says, "Oh, great." So he goes up to the door, knocks on the door, and says, "I think I just killed your cat." She goes, "Are you sure? I just saw it in the backyard just a few minutes ago." She says, "What did it look like?" And he says, "It looked like this." And she goes, no, I meant before you hit it. "Oh, before I hit it, it looked like this." Mr. Toastmaster.